Day 82 of the war in Gaza, exactly 2 months into the ground operation that began October 27th. IDF Chief of Staff Halevi gave the nation his assessment of progress made until this point and the challenges still faced. Halevi said it would not be easy or fast. After a week of heavy losses to ground troops inside Gaza, IDF Chief Halevi gave a detailed update to the nation of the achievements but also the challenges being faced in the war to defeat Hamas in Gaza.
למלחמה הזו מטרות הכרחיות ולא פשוטות להשגה. היא מתקיימת בשטח מורכב. לכן המלחמה תימשך עוד חודשים רבים, ואנחנו נפעל בשיטות שונות, כך שההישג יישמר לאורך זמן.
Halevi said the IDF is determined to succeed in its mission.
אין פתרונות קסם, אין קיצורי דרך בפירוק יסודי של ארגון טרור, אלא לחימה עיקשת ונחושה. נגיע גם להנהגת החמאס, בין אם זה ייקח שבוע ובין אם זה ייקח חודשים. בזכות הרוח, בזכות המקצועיות, אנחנו נגיע.
Fully in control in northern Gaza, the IDF has been conducting cleanup operations of Hamas infrastructure in the north. They're also gathering discarded terrorist weapons and found this in a child's bedroom.
כוח 931 של הנחל, אחרי שמצאנו אמל"ח באחד הבתים, ממשיכים לעיתון נוסף שנמצא שם עוד אמל"ח. איפה מצאתם אותם, תראה לי?
אוקיי, קלאצ'ים, מוחבים יחד עם המחסניות, יחד עם הרימונים, מתחת לשמיכה. טיל בתוך המכסה שלו.
Meanwhile, the army continues its advance toward the remaining Hamas resistance in southern Gaza, especially in and around Khan Yunis, where terrorist leadership is believed to be hiding underground. The IDF is further expanding operations in central Gaza, with the 36th Division moving away from the Gaza City area and striking Hamas's El Barej battalion. The El Barej battalion consists of about 1,000 Hamas fighters and is just one of 4 Hamas battalions in the group's central Camps Brigade. All sustained damage in Israeli strikes but are believed to be largely functioning.
They deny the kidnapping of our children, the murder of our grandchildren, the rape of our daughters. The new Nazis we face today will stop at nothing to destroy civilization as we know it. The World Jewish Congress was created exactly for these times like this, so every Jew can fall asleep at night knowing they are safe in their own home. We are a voice for the Jewish people everywhere. We are the World Jewish Congress.
And joining us to discuss the progress of the war is Reserve Brigadier General Yossi Kuperwasser. Welcome. You heard the comments by the IDF Chief of Staff. Was he giving it to us straight? Will it still take months to defeat Hamas in Gaza?
Well, I think that time is very important in this war, and we need a lot of time to get Hamas out of Gaza. But the stage we are at this point is the intensified warfare stage, in which I think that we can finish the job in as far as taking control of the areas overground in Gaza. And we shouldn't put to ourselves in this respect any time limits and say that this should finish before the end of January or any other time. I hope it will be finished by then, but it's not the question is not a certain date. The question is whether we are going to be in the end of that in control of the entire overground Gaza Strip. And then we shall need more time to clear in the underground Gaza Strip, which is, as we all see, huge and very demanding task. It can last a couple of months more. But the point here is that according to the impression I get right now is that the IDF is not totally clear about whether they're going to take over Rafah or not. We see that every other part of Gaza is already being treated. The northern part has been treated. The Khan Yunis area, now the central refugee camps, Burej and Nuseirat and Marazi are being taken care of. The only question mark is about Rafah. And I sincerely hope that the IDF will decide to go to Rafah as well, because if you don't close Rafah and you don't close the Philadelphia corridor along the border with Egypt, you're not going to be able to prevent weapons from coming in.
Do you buy into the criticism that the Army's hands are somewhat being tied due to humanitarian considerations?
No, on the contrary, I think that we should allow humanitarian aid in for several reasons. First and foremost, because we don't want to see humanitarian disaster developing there. And many of the people there are civilians. Even if they supported the massacre of 7th of October, they didn't take part in it. So we shouldn't take steps that would put them in humanitarian danger. Secondly, we have to deal with the potential of all kinds of pandemics that may develop over there, and that may affect us too. But first of all, we don't want them to suffer from these pandemics. And thirdly, because this is critical for our ability to look at in the mirror and look at ourselves in the mirror every morning, we have to know that we did the right thing. And fourthly, because the international community expects us to take care of the humanitarian issue. And finally, because we are fighting according to the laws of international humanitarian law, and that is something that we have to abide by, and this goes well with our values. So all these 5 reasons are there in order to us keep the humanitarian corridors open and enable the Hamas, and enable the population get the stuff. The problem with Hamas is that they, unlike us, don't respect the needs of the population. They take control of the humanitarian aid that's brought in and steal a lot of it for their own purposes. And that is the thing that we should worry about. And the United Nations Relief and Work Agency, the UNRWA, that is responsible for bringing the humanitarian aid in, is actually controlled by Hamas. That's the problem.
Yossi, a very curious comment by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard today, claiming that the October 7th attack on Israel was in revenge for the killing of Qasem Soleimani in 2020. And now they're promising revenge for the killing of Razi Mousavi this week in Damascus. What do you make of the claim?
Well, I think they exaggerate. Hamas doesn't need such an excuse in order to carry out such a barbaric attack against Israel. They had their own reasons, and even the Iranians claimed that they were not in the loop about at least the date of the attack. No, I think that the attack had its core and reasons in other places. They were preparing it for many years, way before the death of Qasem Soleimani. This plan was there since 2014. It has been updated after Israel built the wall that goes deep into the ground and prevents them from using the underground tunnels for the purpose of launching this attack. So they had to make some adjustments and break through the wall overground instead of underground. But this was a plan that they had for many years, and it has nothing to do with Qasem Soleimani. The contribution of Qasem Soleimani to the plan is that I believe that the people of Qasem Soleimani were involved in designing this plan and in supplying the Hamas with the weapons that were used and with some of the ideas that were used in this plan, like the swarm idea and things like that. These are things that in which you can find Iranian footprints, but not as the reason for launching the attack.
Well, that's all the time we have today. General Kupperwasser, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Bye.
Experience the power of truth with ILTV News. If you're looking for quality content and captivating visuals, join our news community and become an integral part of our team as we embark on a mission to unveil the real Israel, dismantling the web of lies and misinformation that surround reporting on Israel. By subscribing to ILTV News, you will not only have access to the latest updates, but you will also amplify our message, creating a ripple effect that carries the truth far and wide. Subscribe today and help reshape the narrative. Available on the web, Android, and Apple.
The Israel Defense Forces on Wednesday announced the deaths of 6 soldiers fighting in the northern Gaza Strip the previous day, bringing the Israeli death toll in the ongoing ground operation in Gaza to 164. Sergeant Major Maor Levy, 33, a soldier in the 450th Battalion from Susia. Major Shai Shamriz, 26, from Merkaz Shapira, a commander in the 931st Battalion. Captain Shaul Greenclick, 26, from Ra'anana, an officer in the 931st Battalion. There were 3 fallen in the Givati Brigade's Shaked Battalion. Lieutenant Yaron Eliezer Shititz, 23, from Ra'anana. Staff Sergeant Itai Buton, 20, from Petach Tikva. Staff Sergeant Ephraim Jackman, 21, from Neve Daniel. May they all be of blessed memory. Israel has announced that visa requests for UN employees will no longer be granted automatically. The move followed what was called United Nations complicity with Hamas' human shield strategy in Gaza. Here is the announcement of the decision from an Israeli official, Eylon Levy.
Too long, international officials have been deflecting blame onto Israel to cover up for the fact that they are covering up for Hamas. In failing to condemn Hamas for hijacking aid and failing to condemn it for waging war out of hospitals, they have been complicit partners in Hamas's human shield strategy. They have let the world down, we are demanding global accountability, and now we are leading by example. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has announced that visa requests by UN employees will no longer be granted automatically and will instead be considered on a case-by-case basis. Israel will stop working with those who cooperate with the Hamas terror regime's propaganda machine, and we urge our allies to do the same and stand up for basic integrity in the global institutions that should serve and not sabotage international security.
Cross-border warfare continues to take a toll along the northern border with Lebanon. Hezbollah hit a new low by targeting a church and rescue workers. Israeli forces were involved in a heavy exchange of fire with Hezbollah after anti-tank missiles fired from Lebanon struck the St. Mary's Greek Orthodox Church in the Israeli village of Ikrit in the western Galilee. The wounded included an Israeli civilian in his 80s and several Israeli soldiers. The soldiers were responding after the first missile hit the church. A second rocket targeted the soldiers who were hurt while evacuating the wounded civilians under missile fire. The IDF called the attack not only another clear violation of UN Security Council Resolution 1701, but also a violation of the freedom of worship.
Shortly after Hezbollah deliberately fired at the church, Hezbollah then fired at Israel from next to a mosque in Lebanon. We shared clear video evidence of this so that Hezbollah's violations of international law are on full display to the world.
Terrorists in Lebanon also targeted Moshav Dovev in the Upper Galilee, as well as Kibbutz Iftach on Mount Dov, near the border with Lebanon. The IDF responded by shelling the source of the attacks with tank and artillery fire. Later, IDF fighter jets struck Hezbollah terror assets extensively in border towns in southern Lebanon. Israel is in a multi-front war under attack from 7 different theaters. That's the word from Defense Minister Gallant, who said that Israel has already struck back against 6 of the aggressors. More from ILTV's William Sharon.
An Israeli fighter jet shot down a Houthi Yemen drone over the Red Sea, which the army says was heading towards Eilat. The Iran-backed Houthis in Yemen claim responsibility and said they were targeting Eilat. The latest attack from Yemen came as Defense Minister Gallant told the Knesset Foreign Affairs and Defense Committee that the military challenges facing Israel go far beyond the war in Gaza.
אנחנו נמצאים במלחמה רב-זירתית. אנחנו מותקפים מ7 גזרות שונות. עזה, לבנון, סוריה, יהודה ושומרון, עיראק, תימן ואיראן.
According to Gallant, Israel already taken action against most of the aggressors and warned that no attack will go unpunished. Gallen's mention of Iraq came on the same day as reports of airstrikes on Iraqi military positions. The pro-Iranian Iraqi government blamed overnight U.S. airstrikes, claiming 1 soldier was killed and 18 others were wounded. The overnight retaliation airstrikes targeted the headquarters of Iraqi armed group Kataib Hezbollah in Iraqi city of Hilla, located south of Baghdad. Mourners later carried the coffin of the Kataib fighter during the funeral in Baghdad. The U.S. airstrikes followed a drone attack earlier in the day by Iran-alleged terrorists that left 1 U.S. service member in crucial condition and wounded 2 others. The United States has 900 troops in Syria and 2,500 in Iraq, on a mission it says aims to advise and assist local forces trying to prevent a resurgence of Islamic State, which in 2014 seized large swaths of both countries before being defeated. In a related development, the USS Labon intercepted 12 drones fired by Iran-backed Houthi rebels in the Red Sea. No ships were damaged, and there were no reports of injuries.
There was an apparent bomb blast outside the Israeli embassy in New Delhi, India. An abusive anti-Israel letter was found nearby. In a separate development, the Indian Navy announced it would deploy a destroyer in the Arabian Sea as a deterrent against Iranian-orchestrated attacks on shipping. More from ILTV's Deb O'Klein.
Embassy officials heard the blast outside the Israeli embassy in Delhi. There were no injuries in the explosion, which comes amid rising threats to Israeli and Jewish targets abroad.
हमने 2-3 मिनट देखा हमने अपना दफ्तर के अंदर इधर उधर अंदर कुछ भी नहीं था फिर हम बाहर निकला जस्ट तो वहाँ पे एक पेड़ है उसके ऊपर कुछ धुआं जा रहा था.
Israeli security officials and Indian police are working together on the investigation.
This evening, several minutes after 5, an explosion occurred in close proximity to the embassy. All our workers are safe, all our diplomats are safe. Our security teams are working in full cooperation with the local Delhi security, and they will investigate the matter further.
In another Israel-related development, the Indian Navy announced it will deploy guided missile destroyer ships in the Arabian Sea as a deterrent. The move comes after an Israeli-affiliated merchant vessel was attacked off the Indian coast over the weekend. The Indian Navy says it's investigating the nature of the attack on the vessel MV Chempluto. The U.S. Pentagon said that it was a drone launched from Iran. India says it is fully committed to keeping sea lanes in the Indian Ocean region safe and secure for maritime trade.
भारत पूरे इंडियन ओशन रीजन में नेट सिक्योरिटी प्रोवाइडर की भूमिका में है. हम सुनिश्चित करेंगे कि इस इलाके में होने वाले समुद्री व्यापार सागर से उठकर आसमान की बुलंदियों तक पहुंचे. इसके लिए हम मित्र देशों के साथ मिलकर सी लेन्स को मैरीटाइम कॉमर्स के लिए सेफ और सिक्योर बनाए रखेंगे.
A U.S.-led coalition has deployed in the Red Sea after Iranian-allied Houthi rebel attacked several commercial vessels transversing the waterway. Iran has also coordinated with Hezbollah in Lebanon and an anti-Israel axis operating since the start of the war in Gaza.
Following the devastation on October 7th to southern communities in Israel near Gaza, the communities were evacuated. Farmers faced devastating loss of crops, and they turned to the public to volunteer. The response has been helpful, but the challenges remain. ILTV's Ariella Lachiani is out there in the middle of one of those fields. How's it going, Ariella?
Hi Steve, so I'm here in the south of Israel in the Gaza envelope, and I'm currently at a citrus orchard where since the start of the war there has been a massive shortage of workers, and so people from around the world have been coming here to volunteer and help pick fruit of the trees. So let's take a look and see how everyone here has been coming together to unite amid Israel's war against Hamas.
So obviously with the war going on, there's not much you can do from being in London. So we thought, why not come here, help out, do what we can. This, where we are right now, is like one of the main producers of oranges in Israel. And a lot of their workers, obviously can't work at this time. They're in the army.
Right now, we're picking clementines. Yesterday, we planted spring onions. The day before, we picked fennel.
It feels really, really good to be here. It feels really good to be trying to do our very tiny part to help. I don't know if you can hear the booming going on in the background, which is kind of weird, but it feels really amazing being here from London.
We've done a lot of farming in the morning, we've done barbecues in the evening or the afternoon or evenings. We went to visit people, the soldiers in Ichilov, just doing good things, trying to do chesed, trying to inspire people to do good things.
And we felt that we wanted to come and volunteer and help in Israel with the agriculture, which seems to be one of the big problems here.
We're just here, doing what we can with everything going on, and I think it's just really important that everyone does their part.
I want people to know, and I want you to know that every one of these people, this is mid-December break, every one of these people could be on any other beach in the world, Miami, Cape Town, anywhere. They're here helping, doing good things.
And remember to buy that produce when it reaches the supermarkets. In the midst of the war, semiconductor giant Intel is showing confidence in Israel by investing $25 billion in a chip plant, the largest ever investment in Israel. Well, following the development is ILTV's Debo Klein, who joins me now in the studio. We've not been reporting on much other than the war these days, but this is a big thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's actually huge for the Israeli economy right now. With war, unfortunately, often comes economic devastation, and we've actually seen a little trend. The shekel got a little bit weaker at the start of the war as international investors were pulling out. But that trend was very short-lived. The shekel has since recovered, and so the timing now for the Israeli economy is so important, this Intel investment, for the strength of the Israeli economy. And, it also opens job opportunities during war, which is so important in remote areas such as Kiryat Gat, where this factory is going to be built. And as the finance minister Smotrich said, it's very important, and more than anything, it's a sign of confidence, a show of confidence that I think is very relevant right now.
Why now, actually? I mean, they've invested in Israel before, but it's a time of uncertainty. You would think that Intel is a business, they have stockholders and so on. Investing so much money into the Israeli economy now, why would they do it?
Right, so I think that more than anything, it sends a very clear message about alliance. Intel and Israel have had great relations over the last few years. Over the last 50 years, there's been about $50 billion invested by Intel. There's over 11,000 employees of Intel in Israel right now. So it's kind of Intel's way of telling their employees, we believe in you and we're committed to you. And it's, I think, very important, not just for Israel, but for Intel to have this sort of healthy relation. And, beyond that, it's in turn, Israel becomes as you said, the epicenter of semiconductor technology.
Well, investment in Israeli high-tech has been down tremendously, sharply since the start of this war. Do you think that Intel's investment might nudge some of them to look again at Israel and maybe reinvest?
I believe so. As I said, it's a great show in confidence, and it's not just investing in the tech sector in Israel. It's investing in the expansion of the tech sector, which is in Kiryat Gat, which is a very remote area, which they're trying to expand. All
right, Roz is telling me that we're out of time, so we'll have to leave it there, but keep up the great work.
Of course.
Hi, this is Joel Rosenberg, editor of All Israel News. Sign up for our free daily email for the latest news from Jerusalem. Go to allisrael.com.
Well, let's take a look at the weather forecast. Partly cloudy skies and heavy winds are expected tonight around most of the country, with lows of around 13 degrees Celsius or 56 degrees Fahrenheit. And then tomorrow, mostly sunny skies and steadily rising temperatures, reaching highs of 20 degrees Celsius or 69 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, that's all for today's news. For more updates from Israel on all of your devices, check out our ILTV channels, subscribe to our ILTV newsletter, and don't forget to check out our new and improved website, ILTV.tv, with the latest news from the heart of the State of Israel. I'm Steve Leibowitz. Blessed are the memories of the fallen. Let's win the war and bring the hostages home.